Well, happy birthday to anybody who's got a birthday today. Just live life and love it. Anyway, I've gone and got this rather crumpled up box with a spark plug in it, BP5HS. This is the one we want for the old moped. So, if I can ever get into it, which I don't know that I can, because it's all cock-handed. Trying to do it with my left hand don't help really, so we're just going to have to blast into it. There we go. If we can ever get it out. Blimey, who packaged this one? It's because the box is crumpled. God, who would have so much trouble getting a spark plug out of a box? Only me. Only bloody me. Here it is. Here it is. It's alive. BP5HS. There's a big old S on there, isn't it? Right. Let's screw it in and see if we got any spark. Oh, actually, no, let's plug it in and see if we got any spark. And then if we have, then we'll screw it in and see if we got any fireage. This is, I was actually going to save this, doing this until the weekend, but me, being impatient, as always, I might have to take that off. Me, being as impatient as I am, can't get the end of the spark plug off. I decided to myself, I need a pair of pliers. I decided to myself, you know what, I'm going to quickly go and see if I can get this to work tonight. It looks to me as if I'm not going to be needing that. I have no idea what the old spark plug, if it had it on the end or not, but that's much better, isn't it? That's better. Right, let's find a place to jam this in where I can see it. Oops. I need a place to jam it where I can see it while I'm pedaling, so I can see whether I've got any spark. Let's have a look. Okay, so I was just trying to check to see if we got any spark. One thing is we don't have any spark for some reason or another, but I didn't get as far as to check that out because remember a while back I told you that there was a knocking within the engine somewhere, and that was the reason I took it apart to start with about 10 years ago and never put it back together. And then when I got it back here I couldn't find the knocking, it wasn't knocking anymore, so I thought I'd just put it back together. Well, when I was pedaling it to try and see if there was any spark, it started knocking again all of a sudden. At first it was normal, and then all of a sudden it started to knock. So I'm obviously going to have to try and find out what the knocking noise is. It could be anything. It could literally be a big end bearing, which I doubt that very much, but it could be. Or it could just, I don't know what else it could be. There's loads of stuff in there to, you know, to go through it all would just be ridiculous. It'd take ages, but there's loads of stuff in there that could be knocking. So I'm going to see if I can get it on camera so you can hear what I'm talking about. And then it goes. That's interesting. It comes back and then goes. It's gone now. Very interesting. Very strange. Alright, so you probably heard at the beginning it was knocking, and then you would have heard it vanished, which is very strange. I don't quite know what that could be, so I'm going to have to just take it apart and see if I can see anything untoward. I do remember I took it all apart and there wasn't anything wrong with it though, so don't know. Very weird. But even so, we don't have any spark, so I'm going to have to try and find out why we've got no spark. Right then, it's a little bit more than I wanted to do this evening, but while I'm waiting for the old tumble dryer to finish, I guess I had noticed when I put the plug in and I tried to start it up, even though it didn't look like we had any spark, but it might have just been that I wasn't able to see it from where I was. So I thought I'd put the plug in anyway and see if we can get it to start. When you press the old decompression lever, it knocks like hell. So there's obviously something going on in here, where the decompression valve is obviously hitting the piston or something. So I'm just going to whip the old head off, because it's two-stroke. You don't have to worry about any valves or nothing like that. We can just whip the old head off and see what's going on inside there, and we can have a look at that valve while we're at it. I thought that was a 10, maybe it's not. Let's see if we can find the right socket. Well, it ain't going to be a 9. Yeah, it's definitely a 10. I thought they were 10s from when I took them off before. Well, I say, I didn't actually know. Right, this is going to have to be a two-handed job. Of course, that is the problem when you're doing something. Holding the camera with one hand, you don't have both hands to spare. So there we go. Right, so we've got all 4 of these bolts cracked open now. We should be able to just whip their head off. Hopefully. The exhaust is going to be in the way, being connected there. We'll soon find out. I can't remember how this head come apart now. It was a good 10 years ago that I first took this off. It must have been. Yeah, that's alright. I thought that was going to happen. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing. Now, it's obvious to me that there's something going on within the decompression stage, or valve, or whatever you want to call it, which is knocking there. It's hitting on something. So we'll just, I'm not going to go too far into this tonight. For one, it's getting late, and two, I wasn't expecting to taking too much apart, but these things happen. I'm going to pick up tomorrow something interesting for that you vacuum fans might like. Right, what we got here? Don't need that there. That's in the way. Looks like I'm going to have to disconnect the old cable from there. No, actually I might not. If I can get these bolts out like that, as long as I don't have to replace the old gasket, I'll be happy. Well, having said that, I didn't replace it when I put it back together last time, so I rarely replace gaskets because, well, it's an unnecessary expense really, isn't it? I don't need to be replacing gaskets unless something important. This ain't a water-cooled thing, so a head gasket is not necessary to be replaced, really. I just got to remember how the hell we went back in there. Oh, well, we'll work that out later. Right, there's your little decompression valve, which when you press that opens up. And if we get that out of the way, which is going to be bloody difficult, trying to do it with one hand, and it's just hanging up over there. Alright, that can go like that. See you later. Right. And in here, we have ourselves a little piston. Which typically, there we go. Right, there we go. So, what we got here, look. Now that, to me, that's a little chunk of metal. That is. Why have we got a little chunk of metal in there? That shouldn't be in there for a start. Right. Can't see anything off the top of my head. That little bit of metal in there is slightly worrying, because where's that come from? That could have come through there. That could have. Which would mean we've got something broken. Let's see if we can. I'm going to have a look at this with my eyes properly. But there's the bit of metal what was just sitting on top of that piston there, on top of that crown. So I'm going to have a look with my eyes and see what I can see. Well, there's nothing too bad at the untoward in there, really. Now let's have a quick little look. I'll show you how this all works. Now, so far, that piston's all the way out like that. That's really just after the, you know, the big bang. It's pushed all that out of the exhaust. Well, it ain't pushed out of the exhaust yet. It will do in a minute. It's gone bang. It's going back in again. Ugh. Right, that one at the bottom. See that where the exhaust goes on there? That little hole down there at the bottom. Exhaust port. And you got two. And you got. Well, you're never going to be able to look in there. Look, there's one on the side. And then. Oh, I can't even see with my eyes now, let alone. So whatever the camera's seeing, I have no idea. But there's another port up there somewhere. If you can see it. That's where the fuel grenade comes in. So, having a look in there. Again, I can't see now because everything's in the way of me. But there's no real damage in there that I can see for anything to be knocking. That little valve doesn't appear to have hit anything. The piston moves up and down nicely. It doesn't. There's no like movement, because if the crank bearing or the crank was mullered or something like that, that piston would be like wobbly in and out, if you know what I'm trying to say. I've seen it before. I've had it on many things where you put the piston all the way out like this, and then you can do that and it go donk 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 clunk clunk, you know, in and out. There's no movement side to side, and there's no movement. See, it don't clunk in. I can push it in, but it doesn't clunk, right? So I'm kind of thinking that whatever that knocking is, it isn't internal of the engine. It might be something to do with the clutch, maybe. So that's gone. I know for a fact this decompression valve was doing something funny that I didn't quite like. There's no real. We've got little dents there. A few little dents there. Look, one there, another one there, one there, one there, one there. So I don't quite know what that was all about. Anyway, right, so I'm going to get this put back on, and I'm going to bolt it all up, put this gasket back in, bolt it all up, put the plug back in again, and see what happens. For some reason we still haven't got any spark, I think, but we'll just see what happens. Like I said, I'm not going too far into it tonight. I'm just messing around basically while I'm waiting for this bloody tumble dryer to finish. So let's see. Something very, very important, which I have mentioned in many other videos in the past, and that is whenever you're doing something with 4 bolts or 3 bolts or 2 bolts or whatever bolts, and it's got to make a seal and it's got to come down evenly. I mean, I always practice it and I always do it, whether it's got to come down evenly or not. Everything's got to come down evenly. I often see people doing up wheels, especially when you go to a professional tyre place and they put your wheel back on, and they put it on and do the top bolt up with a bloody gun all the way in. Then you're like, well, what about the other ones? Another wheel's going to be bloody wonky, you fool. Anyway, make sure you always do it in a cross pattern, right? You need this to be drawn in evenly. It's very, very important. The amount of professionals I see not doing this is ridiculous. They all need to be punched in the head. You've got to do this. That one, for example, and then this one. Do it by hand. Turn it by hand like that until you get it tight. And then you come to this one. Do that one by hand until you get it tight. And then to that one. Yeah, and then go around. And then once you get them hand tight, get your old ratchet and nip that one. And then go there. I didn't do that one very tight. That's because I was talking to you lot. I'll blame that on you lot. In fact, I didn't do anything to that one at all. Anyway, go to that one, nip that one. Yeah? And then down to this one, nip that one. Then down to that one, nip that one. And then you can repeat it again. To that one, nip that one. Back to that one, nip it again. And back to that one, nip it again. Back to that one, nip it again. Until you're satisfied it's tight enough. Or if you're a proper goody two shoes, get your torque wrench out and torque it up to the specifications. It really annoys me when you go to a professional place, you know, and they don't do anything properly. It just gets on my nerves a little bit, because you're like, well, hold on a minute, I'm paying you to do a job properly and you ain't doing it. Just because I'm a customer and you think I'm stupid and you think you can get away with not doing something properly, that ain't right, mate, you know. Some people, absolutely unbelievable. Right, spark plug is in, head is back on. I don't think this is making a connection. I think we've got a problem with this, because that looks bent to me. So I don't think this is making a very good connection. I don't think that's screwed on there properly, because it did come off earlier. Anyway, we'll go with it for now, and we'll see what happens, shall we? Don't worry about the old tumble dryer making that noise in the background. Let's see what we got. The lever ain't working. I need some oil. Get the oil out. Need a bit of oil. Oil it up. Oil it up. Make sure it's got plenty of lubrication. Oil it up. The oil in the oil can, it's got a spot of petrol in it as well. Sweet! That should be working now. I don't know whether you can see that, but that should be working much better. Let's see what happens there. Well, we definitely haven't got any spark, and that decompression ain't gone back out again. We've got a problem with the lever, the decompression lever. Once I pull it, it ain't springing back like it should do. I don't know what that spring's. I don't know. We've got a screw in there. Look, there's a screw on there. It's obviously there for a reason. I don't know. Right, that's it for tonight. But at least we know we've got this plug. It ain't knocking now. I just got to try and find out why we ain't got a spark.